this is the C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 113, Vegh versus Newton, which happens on March 21st. Overall, I like this card. Enough. I mean, you do have Vegh versus Newton. Could be a good fight. Could be kind of a grinder too, you know. I still remember Veigh's fight with Mpumbu wasn't that great. Newton's fight against King Mo was kind of you know, the second time around. As far as like aesthetics go. You got a fun fight with Patricky Pitbull versus David Rickels. Some new guys in the lightweight tournament with Rodrigo Cavalheiro, Correia. Campos is now in the tournament. Brandon Girtz, Derek Anderson. Prelims are just alright. A couple Zuffa veterans with Eric Wise and Alcee Davis are on there. Brian Rogers is always fun to watch. So, yeah, let's get started. Okay, Attila Vegh fights Emanuel Newton for the Bellator. It's a Bellator light heavyweight title unification bout. Attila Vegh beat Emanuel Newton by split decision on July 2012. I thought Newton should have won the fight. He should have got the nod. Vegh is Bellator's light heavyweight champion. He has a 29-4 record with 2 draws. 10 wins by KO or TKO, 11 wins by sub. He's 28 years old on a 9-fight win streak. From what I read, he's currently training out of ATT. His stand-up's good. He does have heavy hands. Like I said, he did drop Mpumbu. He also has some pretty good Greco-Roman wrestling as well. Emanuel Newton actually has good Greco-Roman wrestling as well. Emanuel Newton, 22-7 record with 1 draw. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. He's 30 years old on a 4-fight win streak, and he trains out of Reign and King's MMA. He's the Bellator interim light heavyweight champion. He has a karate-style stand-up, so you see him use a lot of kicks, side kicks and whatnot. Pretty unorthodox in that sense. He has a really good chin, too. I remember in his fight against like Zayats and whatnot. Even the first fight with King Mo, he was getting tagged, but he was taking the hits. And his takedown defense is solid, man. Watch the second King Mo fight. I mean, he like stops every one of his takedowns. And his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not bad as well. Like I said, I think Emanuel Newton won their first fight. I think he wins this one. Probably use that karate style stand up. Use a lot of movement. Stay busy. He's not a one-hitter quitter despite like doing the spinning back fist that knocked out King Mo. And his takedown defense is pretty solid as well. Good fight for 2 fighters, light heavyweights outside of the UFC. But I'll go with Emanuel Newton to win that one. Okay, next right at that, Patricky Pitbull Freire fights David Rickels. Well, Freire was actually going through some pretty rough times. He was on like a 3-fight losing streak. He's coming off a win over Edson Berto, though. I think it's 3-fight. It was like Eddie Alvarez, Lloyd Woodard, and like and Derek Anderson, I think. He has an 11-5 record with 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 27 years old, training out of Team Nogueira and Pitbull Brothers. Really heavy-handed guy. He does have good Muay Thai and some good knees, but he's something of a brawler as well at times. You'll see him like wing a left hand a lot. Against Anderson in the first round, he's shown some good counter-striking ability, though. And the thing with the Pitbull Brothers is they are pretty accurate. They have good timing and good accuracy with their strikes. Very underrated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game and improving wrestling as well from Pitbull. David Rickels has a 15-2 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He's 25 years old. He's actually got some solid Muay Thai, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He's good off his back. His cardio is excellent. and he's very aggressive and pushes forward. So it's really hard for me to call, you know. I really like Patricky Pitbull. One thing that was a bit telling in the Derek Anderson fight, though, was his cardio. I mean, he just seemed a bit resigned. I don't know if he was gassing or something, but man, against Anderson, he just wasn't there. Once the second round happened, it was just gonna like back up against the cage, freeze up, block punches, maybe even to eat one, you know, against Derek Anderson. And I was like, he looked gassed or something, you know. Rickels, that won't be a problem, and he's gonna be in Patricky's face the whole time. Rickels, both these guys actually, you know, are pretty hittable, so it's tough to say. Patricky has shown to be the harder hitter. Rickels is more like the resilient, tougher guy, durable. He's a lot more durable though. I'll go with the durability of David Rickels and his cardio and aggressiveness to win this one. Really close fight. I'm very interested to see how it goes. So David Rickels for the win there. Next fight after that, Rodrigo Cavalheiro Correia fights Marcin Held. So checking some stuff out with Rodrigo Cavalheiro. Well, first off, he has a 14-2 record, 11 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 31 years old on a 10-fight win streak. One of those wins is actually against Goiti Yamauchi. I think that's actually a very important win considering who he's fighting. He's a heavy-handed guy with good Muay Thai. I mean, he won a fight with an elbow, his good knees, really good punches. You know, it's his first fight in Bellator. One thing I did notice, there's two things I noticed with Rodrigo here. He switches stances a lot, and I noticed in like 2 fights I saw of his, he's really susceptible to leg kicks. I remember in the beginning of the fights, it's just like leg kick. You know, his opponent throws leg kick, connects. Leg kick again, connects. I was like, wow, this guy just takes leg kicks, you know? And then he kind of turns it on, but he seemed a bit susceptible to leg kicks, in my opinion, from what I saw. Marcin Held, 16-3 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. He's 22 years old. He has strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, especially leg locks. He's strong off his back, and his stand-up is improving. And by the way, this fight and the Rickels versus Patricky fight are lightweight tournament opening round fights. Like I said though, the the Goiti Yamauchi fight though, Yamauchi tried to take the fight to the ground a lot, and he did actually, but then he managed to defend some of the takedowns. Marcin Held's not the greatest takedown guy too. I'll go with the overall athleticism of Rodrigo Cavalheiro Correia to win this one. I think he has a better stand-up, but I am banking on him being able to defend Marcin's takedowns or just avoid his overall ground game. That's not to say Marcin Held won't just roll for a leg lock. Heck, even got a win over Rich Clemente by a toe hold. I mean, you know, so this guy, Marcin Held's got some sneaky stuff, for sure. But I'll go with Rodrigo Cavalheiro Correia to win that one. Next fight after that, Derek Campos fights Tim Welch. Well, Tim Welch has a 10-4 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub, so he's a finisher. He also has 2 losses by submission. 23 years old, training out of MMA Lab. You know what I saw from Welch too, I remember him in Fight Master. Solid stand-up, you know, and like, kind of like good everywhere, not great anywhere, you know what I mean? I also remember him getting killed by Michal Zarev as well. Derek Campos, 13-3 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He's 25 years old on a 4-fight win streak, training out of Moeller MMA. Other fighters that train out of Moeller MMA would be Will Campuzano. He does have some good stand-up and good wrestling. I was watching actually his last fight against Stapleton, and he showed, once again, it's kind of the same story as him, you know, kind of solid. But these two guys are like that solid but not spectacular type of prospects. You know, they're so young. You know, Campos 25, Welch 23. I know Campos was supposed to fight. Jeez, I forgot who. I forgot who, but Tim Welch was actually the replacement opponent. I think Welch was actually supposed to fight on the undercard anyway, so it's not like he's taking the fight on short notice per se. But he is now getting a different opponent. Same with Campos though. So this one's kind of a coin toss for me, to be perfectly honest with you. They're both just like, there isn't one thing I can say. It's like, oh, this guy's better stand up, or this guy's a better wrestler, this guy's a better Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner, or this guy shows more heart, or this, you know, I kind of a coin toss here. I'll go with Derek Campos to win that one. Okay, and that's part of the lightweight tournament opening round as well. Okay, on to the prelims. This fight's a part of the lightweight tournament opening round as Derek Anderson fights Brandon Girtz. So I rewatched the Derek Anderson fight with Patricky Pitbull. You know, Anderson has a 10-0 record with 1 no contest, so he's undefeated. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He's on a 3-fight win streak. I can't really say super positive things about Anderson, though. You know, watching that fight. He's seen is defensively, Patricky was hitting like left hook counters all day, even though he's a shorter fighter. I did like that Derek Anderson was using straight punches, and his overall stand-up was decent. But once again, I didn't see anything great from the guy per se. He definitely seemed a lot more better conditioned than Patricky Pitbull, and I gotta kind of attribute that to why Anderson won, and because, you know, in the first round it was all Patricky, almost finishing him with subs even, got him out, and then the second round Patricky was doing well, and then somewhere around the middle, or like after the first minute, Patricky was just dead, dead to rights, or like just gassed, you know. But he is fighting Brandon Girtz. He has a 10-3 record, 7 wins by sub, 3 wins by decision. He's 29 years old on a 2-fight win streak. One thing I liked in his last fight, I forgot who he fought, but it's in Bellator that I watched. He's really strong. that was the first thing that's really noticed. I was like, man, this guy's a really strong dude. I liked his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, and his ground and pound was pretty deadly. I mean, granted, I don't think he can use elbows like he was using in against his last opponent. But, you know, he's in half guard, and he was just pounding away. And he had some pretty good top control as well. I liked what I saw from Girtz here, you know. With Anderson, I was just kind of, you know, I didn't come away too impressed with Anderson, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, I gotta go with Brandon Girtz to win this one. I liked his ground game. I liked what he saw. He seemed to have some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, good top control. I'll go with Brandon Girtz to win that one. Okay, next fight that. Marcio Navarro fights Bobby Cooper. Well, Navarro has a 9-10 record, 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 3 losses by sub, and he's 35 years old. Bobby Cooper has an 8-3 record, 1 win by KO, 1 win by sub, on a 3-fight win streak, and he trains out of K2L Grindhouse. Other notable fighters that train out of there would be Lorosenko, and I think James Krause also trains out of there. When he's not in, because I know he's training with Pettis as well. But, yeah, there's some notable guys out of K2L. Oh, and, Sharkbait. Anthony Gutierrez, if I'm not mistaken, trains there as well. I'll go with Bobby Cooper to win that one. Next fight after that, Donnie Bell fights Eric Wisely. Donnie Bell has an 8-2 record, 1 win by KO, 6 wins by sub on a 3-fight win streak. Eric Wisely, 21-8 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 29 years old. He's on a 2-fight win streak. This guy's fought guys like Pat Healy in Strikeforce. He fought Charles Oliveira and got, I think it was his only time he's been finished was that calf slicer against Charles Oliveira. So out of his 8 losses, 7 are by decision. Eric Wisely just has a lot more experience than Donnie Bell. He's fought some really big name opponents. I gotta go with Eric Wisely to win that one. And next fight that, LC Davis fights Taurean. I can't even pronounce this guy's name. Bogguess. Gonna be honest with you, I don't know anything about Taurean Bogguess. I know he has a 10-7 record, 1 win by KO, 1 submission, 1 by strikes, and 7 subs. He also has 4 losses by sub, and he's on a 2-fight win streak. I can gather if you have that many submission victories, probably like to go to the ground. LC Davis, though, WEC veteran, 20-6 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission, 33 years old. Very experienced guy. You know, he's fought like Davidas Tarasevicius. When Josh Grisby was really good, he fought him. Did he fight Wineland? Jeez, I forgot. No, I think they might have been different weight classes. But he's fought some, a lot of big name guys. Good wrestler as well. I remember that about LC Davis. He's a good wrestler. Decent stand-up as well. I'll go with LC Davis to win this one. Just a lot more experience, especially against bigger name opposition. Okay, next fight after that, Brian Rogers fights Gary Tapusoa. Don't know much about Tapusoa, to be honest with you. 8-2 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's on a 2-fight win streak, and he is a finisher. Brian Rogers. This guy's always in Bellator middleweight tournaments, and his lack of cardio definitely has cost him a lot in these tournaments. Whether it's against Spang, Mikael Parlo, or Dan Kramer. He has a 10-6 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. He's 30 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. He's training on a strong style fight team. Another notable that trains there would be Stipe Miocic. He has some strong Muay Thai, some really good knees, and just really heavy-handed. His grappling is actually improving. Like when he gets taken down, he's pretty good at getting back to his feet when he's taken down. The takedown defense is getting better. But his cardio always costs him. Despite that, I would assume that they're giving Brian Rogers possibly a more winnable fight here. I'll go with Brian Rogers. He's not fighting in the tournament. The guys in the tournaments are pretty good. Pretty good fight, prospects. They're not like these crazy blue chip guys, but Parlo's not that bad of a striker with good takedown defense. Dan Kramer's a really good wrestler, pretty durable guy. And then he lost to like Shlemenko, you know what I mean? So it's like against Spang though. Spang is a good kickboxer, Andreas Spang, but and man, Brian Rogers was doing really well, and then he got left hook and knocked out, man. But he was so dead tired. So I'm always worried about the guy's cardio, but I think Brian Rogers wins this one. Next fight after that, Daniel Gallemore fights Maurice Jackson. Maurice Jackson, 2-1 record with 3 no contests. 1 win by TK, 1 win by sub. He's training out of Syndicate MMA. Other guys that train out of Syndicate, Mike Pyle, Roxanne Modafferi. So he has some good training partners there. It is a heavyweight bout. Daniel Gallemore, 2-2 record. Both of his wins are by KO or TKO. I'll go with Maurice Jackson to win this one. Okay, and finally, Cody Carrillo fights Israel Giron. Cody Carrillo has a 5-7 record, 1 win by KO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. 5 losses by sub. So all of his losses have been by finish. With Israel, 17-3 record, 1 win by TKO, 13 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by sub. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. I mean, you got the guy with the winning record with way more experience, who has a bunch of submission wins, versus the guy whose most of his losses, who has a losing record, and most of his losses are by submission. Yeah, I'll go with Israel Giron to win that one, you know. Okay, to recap, on the main card I have Emanuel Newton beating Attila Vegh, David Rickels over Patricky Freire, Rodrigo Cavalheiro Correia beating Marcin Held, and Campos over Tim Walsh. On the prelims, I got Brandon Girtz over Derek Anderson, Bobby Cooper beating Marcio Navarro, Eric Wisely beating Donnie Bell, LC Davis over Taurean Bogguess, Brian Rodgers over Gary Tapusoa, Maurice Jackson over Daniel Gallemore, and finally Israel Giron beating Cody Carrillo. So that's it for my Bellator 113 predictions. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.